Therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth that he had but a short time. Revelation chapter 12, verse 12. Shalom. I want to start by giving all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Ruach HaKodesh, double honor to our venerable apostles and others of great millstone who were well, and peace and blessings to the Lord's elect, the house of David. It's a brother Aharon coming back at you with another lesson, Lord willing to be edifying and uplifting unto the elect. All right, and just wanted to go into a lesson with what's going on right now, especially here in America, Babylon the Great. All right, the things that the prophets have been saying, starting from my elders and apostles of great millstone on down, in regards to the time of coming trouble, specifically targeting you so-called blacks, Latinos, Native Americans. It looks like those times are here. All right, and of course, just like with previous captivities of the nation of Israel, the Lord typically comes at the northern kingdom first before he comes at the southern kingdom. All right, he always gets the southern kingdom harder than he normally does with the compared to northern kingdom. All right, because the southern kingdom is headed by Judah, and Judah is the head, all right, or the head tribe. Okay, so when the Lord brings that judgment, he gets Judah harder. All right. So we're seeing what's going on with this whole ICE situation, and I actually have an article which I wanted to jump into real quick. Something my brother actually sent me, which is, let me see if I can pull it up real quick here. All right, it says here, ICE detains 361 illegal immigrants, finds 14 minors on operation at California marijuana farms. Okay. So they're going after everyone at any time. All right. Earlier today, we were talking earlier, my brothers and brothers mentioned how they got people just driving, and then they see ICE in front of them, and then they get pulled over, and then that's it. That's the end of it. You get taken away. Just like that. You're getting rounded up. Literally, that's what's going on. But soon it's going to be the actual military going into houses, door to door, all right, breaking through and rounding people up. They're going to be going community to community. You notice they started doing, for the past 5 years, they've been fixing the roads, the highways, all right, and the byways. All right, they've been fixing the roads, man, because why? The highways were created for military use. Okay, that's why the highways were created, for military use. Okay, why? That's why they're called, what they're called now. All right, it all goes back to the military. Okay, so I say all that to say this, that we're in those times of prophecies going into the time of trouble, all right, being fulfilled. Okay, Revelation 12 and 12 is what we just read. All right, and this is all what the manifestation of these prophecies is what we're seeing now. Okay, why? Because it is that time. It is that time. It is that time of the end. Like the scripture says, an evil and only evil has come. All right, it has come. Let me get that real quick. It's Ezekiel, the 7th chapter. All right, because we're in those times, man, and all praises to Yahweh, Bashem, Yahweh Shai. Okay. There's a book of Ezekiel chapter 7 and verse 5. It says, "Thus saith the Lord Yahweh power, an evil and only evil, behold, is come. An end is come, the end is come. It watcheth for thee, behold, it is come." And that's speaking all about doom and gloom for America. Okay? The end of this empire, the end of this age, the end of this country, this system, this wicked system, where there is no justice and there is no peace, but yet that's what they preach. Okay? They preach safety. They preach a great justice system. They preach all this stuff. Equality and all this madness. Meanwhile, Look where the people are at. You have the super rich, all right, blending in with technocrats, all right, to rule the government, something known as the NGOs, non-governmental organizations that are running your so-called governments, okay? And then you have the regular people, the so-called plebeians, all right, in this modern day age, okay? The plebs, so to speak, okay? So there's a huge difference there. That's all going to show you the downfall of America. It's people at the bottom. Okay, the system is at its bottom. It's the worst it's ever been. They're toying with the people left and right. They say one day Epstein list files on the table and is ready to be reviewed. The very next day they say, hey, listen, we ain't got nothing, ain't no files, and nothing exists. Hey, you playing with the people now, you know? And it's all what agitation. It's all agitation, just to agitate the people, get them to the point where, you know, they start to actually feed into it enough for them to actually start taking action. That's easy to work with at that point. Get that chaos going, and then quickly bring in that order, and then run it through from there. Right? Running through from there. But who's going to be at the brunt of all of this? You Jakes. All right, you Jakes, man. But this is all what I'm gonna bring this point out real fast. All right, going into REX84. Okay, and over the years, I always, every now and again, I'll go into it. All right, but now it's more prevalent because we're actually in those times. All right, we're going to read what this thing is all about, and we see if that thing actually is what's going on now, right? So REX84B, short for Readiness Exercise 1984 Bravo, was a classified scenario and drill developed by the United States federal government to detain large numbers of United States residents deemed to be, quote, national security threats, end quote. And another name for a national security threat would be a domestic T. And according to the FBI and the DHS, 90% of the American population, to them, to the federal government that is, 90% of the American population are deemed domestic Ts and a threat to the homeland. And you know what that means. Why do you think Trump has tapped onto Palantir to surveil Americans? Why do you think you have companies like LexisNexis? All these companies, all right, that whether you were familiar with them or not, they're all shifting quickly into this digital frame. Okay? They're all incorporating digital information and a digital lifestyle into their companies. It's just how things are moving now. So everything that people are going to be interacting with are all shifting digital. And with digital comes data. Very important. That means your information, your personal information is what's considered data to them. All right. So they have a huge amount of data on everyone. Why? Because they have to spy on their enemy. Okay, the threat to the national security. Okay, it says in the event that the president declared a national emergency, right? The scenario envisioned state defense forces rounding up to 500,000 undocumented Central American residents and 4,000 American citizens, whom the U.S. Attorney General, which I believe will be Pam Bondi, right, had designated as national security threats as part of the Secret Continuity of Government program, otherwise known as COG-CON. These people would be detained at 22 military bases in concentration camps run by the Federal Emergency Management Agency, otherwise known as FEMA. I already told you about FEMA camps, right? Now, the whole alligator Alcatraz is doing two things, or maybe it could be doing more. But the two that I'm picking up right away is, number one, is setting this tone, all right, that, you know, though they're going after they claim to be going after so-called illegals and gang members and all this BS that they came up with, because who let them all in here, right? Who was bringing them in? Bustos talking about sanctuary cities. Who let them in here? Exactly. So the opposite of the people who let him in are doing the opposite of what the other people did. The Democrats, the Bidens, and so on and so forth. That whole BS. So Trump comes in to fix it. Now, by fixing it, what he's doing now is he's setting the whole thing. So, oh, we can't find out who's who. Eventually, that's what it's going to be. Right now, it's, oh, we're going after the illegals. For Americans to accept them doing this shit. And as soon it's going to be something more than just illegals. Now, they just change it, switch the goalposts. Okay. Now we're going after people who might be considered anti-Sem. And that's going to come with a different energy. You know what I'm saying? Oh, now we're going after people who are anti-Trump. That's also going to come with a different energy. You see? So just remember that this is where it starts. But eventually, just like everything they do, eventually it covers more ground and becomes more vague. And next thing you know is like, yo, how did we get to this point? This is illegal. How is this happening? But guess what? The big beautiful bill covers all these future draconian measures they're going to be doing anyway. As many this guy came in signing executive order after executive order. The big beautiful bill will activate those executive orders where you can't do nothing about it. When a state can't veto anything about AI and all this shit for 10 years, whoa. All right. So get ready. Okay. It says the existence of master military contingency plans, of which REX84 was a part, Operation Garden Plot, and a similar earlier exercise Lantern Spike were originally revealed by journalist Ron Rittenhour, who summarized his findings in a 1975 article in Counterspy magazine. Starting in 1981, the DoD and FEMA began a tradition of biannual joint exercises to test civil mobilization using the names Proud Saber and REX82. Civil mobilization, right? When you mobilize something, let's look into that. Okay, mobilize, right? So this is Z. It says, prepare for active operation or taking the field. It says render capable of movement, bring into readiness or circulation, movable. Okay. Mobile means capable of moving. So to mobilize means to render capable of moving or prepare for active operation. Okay. That's more of a military term. All right. Operation, preparing for, what did it say? Active operation. And what will be an example of an active operation? Look at Jade Helm 15. Okay, look at REX84. Rounding up civilians who might be going against the status quo. This is what's coming. See, you're getting a glimpse of it now. You're getting a taste of it, but a lot of people still haven't connected the dots because it hasn't applied to them just yet. Wait till when they start painting, all right, with a broad brush and it's touching everything. You'll be like, yo, what the hell? Like, yo, they're gonna be stopping people like, oh, you made a post about this? Oh yeah, it's like, damn. Last month that was fine. This month is legal. I can't say nothing against the Jays. What? That's what's coming. You know. You know, that's what's coming, right? And don't forget about the red list, the blue list, and the yellow list as well. All right, that's also in the works. Okay. It says in 1984, the scenario involved a U.S. Army rehearsal of airlifting the entire 82nd Airborne Division, which consists of about 15,000 troops, from Fort Bragg in North Carolina under the cover of night, and flying them to either El Salvador or Nicaragua as a simulated invasion to enforce a state of martial law. You hear that? So, in the cover of night, or under the cover of night. All right? Oh, man. There's nothing for these devils to shut the whole city down. Okay? Because remember, Americans are like sheeple now. They're literally sheeple. people that are like sheep. So if they get any guidance or somebody steps in and pretends to be a shepherd, oh, they're gonna be taken. All right. Look what happened with the CV. Look how many people ended up listening to the so-called experts, and look at them now. It's like nothing ever happened. Mm-hmm. All right, so right here, there's a point. It says, the plan was first discovered by the Christic Institute in 1984 and first revealed in detail in a major daily newspaper by reporter Alfonso Chardi in the July 5th, 1987 edition of the Miami Herald. Possible reasons for such a roundup were reported to be widespread opposition to U.S. Listen to this, U.S. military invasion abroad. Trump just said he's going to send Ukraine, and he said NATO, right? NATO and Ukraine. He's going to be sending them more things because they got to defend themselves. More weapons is what he said, right? What do you think that's going to do with that? What outcome is expected out of something like that, right? These guys pushing war again. He said he's going to end that war within 24 hours. Where we at? All the lies. It's catching on. It didn't even take a year. I remember we told you. This guy said, what did he say? He said, you knew I was a snake before you took me in. He kept saying that. Remember? He kept saying that. And now we're seeing the snake that he is. He's coming out. You know? Oh, man. It says, it says, to combat what the government perceived as subversive activities, the plan also authorized the military to direct the movement of civilian populations at state and regional levels, according to Professor Diana Reynolds. You hear that? The plan was to authorize the military, okay, to direct the movement of civilian populations. That's people getting rounded up. Americans, all right, in every state. All right, forget about the posse comitatus. Get ready. When martial law is enacted because of civil unrest or civil disobedience or whatever the case may be, that's already in the books, that they can use that reason to bring in martial law. Come on. So they set the stage. That's why they're rousing the people up with all this Epstein bullshit and this ICE stuff and all this stuff, and getting people who are not supposed to be gotten, and then just saying, oh, just take him anyway. Like, oh shit, we got the wrong guy. Fuck it, just take him anyway. Oh, okay. You know what I'm saying? Right. Eventually, people are going to get pissed. Right? And you got the economy also taking a hit. It's like, dude, this guy just keeps making all the wrong moves. This is not what we voted him for. That's in people's minds right now. They trusted in Egypt, and now they're going to reap the benefits of it. You know? They trusted in this, like they say, the left-right paradigm, so to speak. This whole Democrat or Republican, oh, let me go vote. Oh, vote. You got to vote. Stupid-ass Elon Musk popping up talking about vote like your life depends on it. Because it does. Remember that shit when he was in the Joe Rogan podcast? I'm like, look at these corny-ass people, man. And now look, less than a year later, look where we at. All right, so hey, this is all part of the Lord's judgment. All right, and there's more to come. Okay, there's definitely more to come. All right. Here's a book of Jeremiah, chapter 30 and verse 7. It says, alas, for that day is great, so that none is like it. It is even the time of Jacob's trouble, but he shall be saved out of it. Right. So ultimately, all right, the terror, all right, the time of evil that we're entering into. Okay, it comes with a lot of mental stress. All right, and your faith, a lot of people's faiths, I should say, is going to be shaken. But the elect, hey, the Lord got us. All right, especially brothers who are in the faith. You know what I mean? All this stuff here is like the reality is setting in. That they're literally this devil is literally plotting a scheme to come against the men of the Lord. You know what I'm saying? All the shit they're doing right now is just to set up the stage to come against the men of the Lord. Okay, because that's going to be the only thing that stands in their way between them and getting their so-called New World Order. Get everybody see him, that's the goal. You know what I'm saying? So this whole system that they're setting up, they got to get certain people out the way. And the number one top on their list is the the bosses of all bosses, against them is the prophets of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. All right, because we've been given the spirit of Yahushai to come and do what we're doing. You know. So yeah, Jacob's trouble is definitely here, man. You know, and it's only going to intensify, like we always say. All right, you wait till you start seeing them really like showing their horns like openly. They're doing it now. It's kind of like you're seeing the tip of the horn popping out of their head and shit. Wait till the whole horn start growing out. Then you go, oh shit, and double, you know, yeah. You know? So we're there. All right. So anyway, I'm gonna leave it up there. Lord willing, you're edified. Give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Rachak Kodash, the water Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai. Until next time, Shalom.